All right, we're a few minutes past 5. I'm going to call the meeting to order, regular select board meeting, January 17th, but we're also combining a budget meeting in there as well. If you would please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So first thing we have is just our fiscal year 2025 budget and town meeting day articles. We've been working on the budget for the past several months. I think we either started in October or November and have talked about it ever since. You want me to turn it over to you, Sean, or you want to? I mean, I think we can look at the presented articles first. Or I can go over that and then we can get to the budget if that works for you. At this point, this is just for us to kind of look at, correct? I know we're going to have an official budget meeting the very first Monday of March. But what we have on here right now, Article 1 are all of the positions that are up for election, including select persons, 2 different folks, or seats, town clerk, town treasurer, delinquent tax collector, town constable, and library trustee. Anna, you're running for all 5 of those, aren't you?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Second article will be,
Can I stop you right there?
sure.
Like the town constable, did we do away with that?
I don't.
One,
think so.
like,
I think we.
We looked into adding one, at least adding one when I
got
first started.
staying for one.
oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay, cause I know, like the last guy, didn't we like not do it or something?
I don't think anyone's ran last-
We left it vacant. We didn't have
Okay.
a position
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ran, right? So.
No.
Yeah.
Then someone.
I think someone was interested back in
approached
June.
with it and,
July.
and all that, so,
yeah, you're not the alternative. position for that.
Yeah,
okay, yep.
Okay.
Yep, okay. But as far as we know, it's still a position
Yeah.
that's in the town, so, okay. Article 2 is just asking about the budget and how much to be raised, which we're going to talk about tonight. Article 3 is about essentially if there's any remaining from this year's budget to whether or not the voters would like us to return that to them. Article 4 is discussing, and we'll talk more detail about this. Shall the legal voters of the town authorize the select board to establish a law enforcement reserve to roll over any funds that we don't use on the police budget this year from the Franklin County Sheriffs to be used in future years. So I think those are the articles right now. And I think, Sean, are we, and maybe Anna, is this one of the last days where if we wanted to add any additional articles, I assume obviously and change any of these if we wanted to,
We're getting close.
yeah,
right?
we've got a few weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna order ballots
2 weeks.
Tuesday, the 30th.
Of January. Okay, so anything it's going to be on is going to be done before this, which is today, right? Our last, at least, select board meeting before then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Well, I guess I'll open it up. I mean, do we want to tackle Article 4? Are there additional articles we want to talk about? I mean, I think if we want to do the articles first, then we can go to the budget or decide to come back.
and so, yeah, they're kind of intertwined, so it's really up to you guys how you want.
Okay.
I have a question
Do
to
it.
Article 4,
Mhm.
where it says select board to establish a law enforcement reserve.
Yeah, I'm working with PLCT right now to kind
Kind of
of,
language.
yeah,
Clarify that. So our intent is take funds from 2024 and put them all into 2025, or are we gonna take pieces out of it throughout multiple years?
I mean, that's basically the
That's
conversation.
the question.
Yeah, because like my original thought with kind of bringing this idea to the table was going to be just specifically the surplus from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, because there's going to be quite the surplus. There could be, although this last bill was higher, but nothing crazy. We could be looking at realistically $500,000 surplus just in that law enforcement line.
Mhm.
So if depending on what you guys want to do, we could create a law enforcement reserve and
Yeah.
and roll it over, for lack of a better word.
You could keep a certain amount in a reserve and then put the remainder toward this year's police budget. If it starts July 1, could you do that?
That's what we're, yeah,
It's not obvious, just give it all, put it all back into the.
It would remain in the general fund. If
Mhm.
if you didn't do anything, your fund balance would be
Whatever it was.
quite high.
yeah,
So,
It would carry over to the next year.
so what's the advantage of creating a reserve?
I'll try to answer this, I think. Sean had actually brought this up to me before, because if we didn't have the reserve, let's say it's 500,000, right?
Mm.
We could put that 500,000, basically give it back this year, along with, let's say, maybe there's another 100 or 200,000. That'd be 700,000 we're returning. And if our budget increase was, say, 900,000, that's gonna almost wipe that out. And I would love it if we could do that and
Right.
forget about next year. I think the idea with the reserve is, if it's 500,000. Maybe we use half of it this year, 250,000. And then maybe use 250,000 next year against next year's budget. If we don't do the reserve, it certainly makes this year look awesome. All of a sudden, our budget increase might only be 3%.
Yeah.
The issue is the police budget is probably not gonna get smaller next year. And then next year, we're gonna be faced with the same thing. So I guess it's the idea of, do I just jump in the pool this year or walk in?
Yeah.
Or have to just kick it down the road and face it all next year? I don't know what the right answer is. We're gonna have to deal with it one way or the other.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe it's a better idea to kind of moderate it, use, kind of deal with half of it this year and half next year, but I don't know if there's a right
Yeah.
answer. I hope I'm explaining your idea, Sean. You
Yeah.
explained it, but
Yeah. yeah, because
that's
it
kind of the idea is.
Al can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Vermont. I believe Vermont state law is that you can't really just roll over a surplus, right?
The only one you can spill over is the
DPW.
DPW
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah, so essentially we have to create a reserve if the citizens allow us to roll the funds. So that's the case for,
I'm not sure you have to always get the citizens' permission.
okay,
I'd have to look that up for you, but I think there are examples where town can just roll it over into a reserve fund. And then pull it out when it needs it the following year or years
Yeah.
later. Only certain things need set up
yeah. That's what,
by election.
yeah, we have an ongoing dialogue with VLCT's legal aid team to kind of make sure everything's all Ts are crossed and Is are dotted.
So tonight, we'd have to make a decision. And with maybe a contingency, right, that
Mhm.
it's not allowed.
We don't, or
or
necessary,
Whatever.
or if it's not necessary, we wouldn't have to put it on.
Can I
Okay.
just interrupt?
Sure.
Since there's even debate about what you want to do. Why not just roll the $500,000 into a reserve fund?
Yeah.
And have more time
Think about it.
to think about it. As opposed to trying to make a decision tonight.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
we're gonna-
responsibility, I would say.
The
That'd be my
voters are
preference.
gonna vote on a budget with a hard number,
Mhm.
but then this would come back into that. I forget when it is, when we sit down and look at the tax rate. So if we put all 500 in, obviously it doesn't affect the total budget number. They're
Correct.
saying, I forget when it is, in the spring, whatever it is.
When we set the tax rate.
We set the tax rate, we could lower it by 200,000. The amount would
And then we save the rest for the following year.
Yeah.
You put it in a designated account.
Yeah.
You wouldn't keep it in the general fund.
No.
Right.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't spend it.
Yeah.
It'll just be a misleading number, yeah, in the budget too.
That would be your recommendation.
Okay.
Now, I, go ahead, Jeff.
If we did do that, could we do something with that money to get interest on it, to try to?
You should put it in a CD.
I mean,
There are like 90-day CDs. You can put it in a 90-day CD.
Yep.
It's 4%.
Yeah, keep doing that for a year to get.
We could do 6 month, 9 month,
That's right.
you could do a 6 month, right?
You
Or
can.
9 month.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the right
you can.
thing to do either.
I know, I mean. Sean
That's
and
what we
I
did
talked
with the
about this
fire
a few
department.
times.
Fire
Reserve.
department,
Yeah.
reappraisal.
Yeah.
And, emergency.
I mean, if we didn't do it. Again, and we haven't finalized the budget yet, but if we didn't do it, I think our budget's gonna go up. Roughly 200,000 or 300,000 for the year.
Oh, if it wasn't for the police budget?
If we don't roll that over, it's gonna make this year's budget.
Yeah, 4%.
Very small, which I would love, God, I would love to
Yeah.
do that. If not for the fact that. The 2026 budget is odd. We're gonna be right in the same exact position we're in right now.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how we want.
And you can rip
I
the
would like to
Band-Aid or
stomach
you
that.
can walk it back or you can, you know,
I guess, but then 27, you're gonna be looking at it
Mhm.
again anyway, so
Yeah.
like, the thing I have a problem is we already collected these taxes. And we're gonna hold on to them longer.
well, for the,
As we're facing. Probably a substantial increase from the school tax also. Like, I think we need to do our best to keep our tax rate low. So a combination of the school tax rate and our rate. Stay as low as we can, it's gonna be an increase, but at least we can try to do everything we can. That's where I stand on it, unless. There's like some great idea to keep that money for another year, but.
Yeah, I wish we could do both.
because then you're looking at
I,
a bigger
Ah.
increase next year in total, That's,
Well-
that's what you're looking at, you know, on the other side.
But then, if we have that pot of money, other people know that we have that pot of money and somebody like, well, you have that sitting there and they'll use it for X, Y, Z," like. Maybe not necessarily people in this room.
That would have to be you guys that decide on that.
I realize that,
Yeah.
but you know, people can twist people's arms, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you got that, so you might as well, you know, and then
Yeah.
public perception.
Right.
You know,
So given the school increase. And state all stuff they've done. And they're doing the win right now. You better just.
unless there's some like. Really good reason, like if you draw 4% interest, it gives you. Like X amount of money, but I've hung up on the fact that we collected that money. In taxes, we need to spend it, like. I don't think we should hold on to it for 2 years. Especially when we didn't collect it with that intent.
I mean, it would still be used for the purpose that it was paid for.
I get it, but we're just holding on to it.
Yeah.
You know, where we could lower the tax rate for 25, because what if somebody moves out and doesn't live here? I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to, like, they paid in, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to roll things through my mind here.
I've seen it, I go back and forth. I mean, I would love to say we've got a budget this year that's only going up 3%. I just know next year we're gonna be in a hole.
It's still,
Not to,
like Jonathan said, it's coming. When we sit at the table a year from now. If we didn't do it and we lowered our tax rate. We're gonna be right back where we were when we started this budget session, said, holy smokes, the budget's gonna go way up and then. And then I think that. All parties involved have worked hard to trim and cut and do what they could.
yeah,
And I think that's where we'll be, and it is the taxpayers' money. I mean, it's not. We gathered it to use, we didn't use it. Back to taxpayers, but I think would make sense, especially.
Right.
Um,
Brendan, go ahead.
Hey, can we talk with Sarah Macy and see if they have, I haven't reviewed the police budget, like the detail of it deep enough to know for sure. Could we see if they have any capital expenses that they're foreseeing needing to borrow for in the next 2 years? Like, are we borrowing for cruisers? Are we, is there any interest that we could otherwise avoid by spending this money on capital purchases to get rid of loans? And then could we like negotiate with the city that the town would then benefit from those interest savings? I want to spend it the way it was intended within the next 2 years to buy down the tax rate, but I want to try to do it in a way that creates additional value if possible.
Good question, Brendan. I
I
don't
can reach out.
believe there were any. I mean, we should ask. I don't believe there were any capital expenses coming up. They just had some, correct, on the antennas and such, so.
Yeah.
For communication towers.
We help them buy a cruiser for their onboarding or the transition.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've talked with Sean about this a few times and thought about it a lot in my head. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. We're returning it all now, or we're saving a little bit to make the increase next year. It not as bad, with a little interest on it. So, I mean, whatever the will of the board is, I'll definitely, talk about it in a positive way, because there's positives in both ways. Well, the issue is, this is our last regular meeting that's scheduled, in January. It needs to be sent to the printers, January 31st, at least prior to our next meeting. So
I believe we can
that's
take
our
something
deadline.
off, but we can't add something back on after this. meeting.
Okay, we could,
Yeah, we could remove something, but not add it.
okay.
Wait. What do you mean?
Like,
Yeah.
On the warning.
Okay.
Yeah,
hold on,
well, you
Jack.
can change the warning tonight.
Yes, you can.
yeah,
Right, you can
Yeah.
change the warning,
They
Yeah.
haven't signed it and I haven't attested to it.
right,
Yeah,
so you do have the ability to add or subtract,
yes.
right, tonight,
Tonight.
after tonight.
Moving forward.
Yep.
Subtract.
that's right.
One of my other points I made with Brian and stuff was, we don't know what the sentiment's gonna be like in a year. So like right now, I think it's very well known, it's very talked about. Obviously, this increase for the police, and especially in the face of everything else that's happening around us. Who knows where the sentiment's gonna be in a year from now? So that's one of my, I guess, just points of trepidation
Is it,
so.
and I think I know the answer, but just want to check.
Mm.
We could keep Article 4 on. Use it, fill it up, and then come again, time to do the tax rate, decide to put all of it down on the chips on 2025, correct? Essentially having the reserve fund, but never using it to push it off. Does that make sense?
But having it be
I mean,
zero,
if we had it on here and the voters pass it. We take the 500,000, whatever is going to be there, and it goes in here, and then the next select board, us or,
I
whoever.
think Sean,
Mhm.
possibly Al, and I would determine what that figure would
Hmm.
be.
Yep. But regardless, what,
Put it in front of
yeah,
you.
whatever that,
No, but
my question is this, though, we could decide to use every dime that goes in here
as long
for
as we
next
don't-
year's budget anyway, correct?
as long as we take out the words up to,
Mhm.
yeah. Because if it's up to, then it would be capped, obviously, at what the voters voted.
Wait,
Right.
I don't understand what
I
you're
think you
saying.
want to leave up to though, because
I'm saying, but if you say up to, then we would be able to just dump it all in. We had a number that's,
say you said a certain amount of, say it was 600,000,
yeah,
but we only had 500 left.
yeah,
If you take that up to out, that means you're solid on it.
Yeah, we want to leave it up to it.
okay. I think
You
we're,
follow me?
yeah, I feel
We'd be
like I'm
100,000
explaining it wrong, yeah.
Yeah, my question is though, let's say it's the amount that goes in there is 500,000. I'm just saying, and it comes April, we decide, we don't want to roll any over. We're gonna put it all down. We could do that, correct?
Leaving that word up too.
I guess what I'm saying is by leaving Article 4 on, we're actually just giving ourselves some flexibility to maybe make that decision.
And you
Later,
can
if
change your
we-
minds too.
And there's a chance when we find out if we even have to do that. So if we can just create a reserve, just hypothetically, without the need for the ballot, then this would kind of be a moot conversation. So,
Okay. Al, you got something?
Yeah, I don't have the ballot item in front of me, but as soon as you say up to for borrow or expending. You could, let's say $700 million. You can spend all that 700 million. You don't have, he doesn't have the authority to go to 701.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think whatever number we put in here, you want to overestimate what you think it's gonna be. Because
Yeah.
we can put up to that amount in there. Obviously, the only amount we're gonna put in there is whatever's left over. Right?
Which you anticipate to be left over now.
right.
Which, that's right. That's why we have to have some flexibility, right? So, yep,
yeah, so I'll get a definitive answer from the LCT and see
okay.
what if anything, we have to do.
Okay, so I think we all understand too, that if we have it on and it comes, when is it, May? When do we, June, right?
Well,
June,
I
Whatever it
hear
is.
from the state about the middle of June,
okay.
about the education rate.
And at that point, that's whoever's on the select board then can decide to use all of it or part of it, or some off to the next year if they decide. I guess what I'm saying is we don't have to decide. Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we're not, yeah, we're not gonna
Okay.
add
So-
anything.
Again, so if you walked in voting day, get your ballot, started reading the article. Now, you've been around, local government quite a bit. Like, you would understand that.
Well,
But
that
like,
the,
for the other person to be like, so what are they doing now with the law enforcement resort to what? Like.
Yeah.
Like, that's. I don't know. I'm still hung up on it. I'm just trying to.
at least 5 people will know what it means.
So the other part is, what if it gets voted down?
Then it would all go
It
back in.
automatically
Just roll over
goes to put down the,
General fund balance.
in the fund bill.
Well, at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
right. We buy down
the lowest tax rate. next
Yeah.
year.
Let me just,
I think
again,
it's not a bad.
Or we may, yeah.
What's
if
that?
the budget goes down and you don't pass a new budget by July 1st, then this current budget renews itself.
Yes,
Okay.
until,
Yeah, That's-
until you have another.
Until you have another
Yeah.
vote, right?
Until you have another-
I don't think so. I don't think so. Do we need a motion to pass these or is it just,
I believe so.
we
I
probably
believe so,
should?
but
Yeah.
This isn't
Okay.
gonna be the final.
But it's not a final, it's just at least these, yeah,
Right,
or minimum.
so we'll have to have another meeting or. I need it all signed.
Usually we do a special meeting on a Thursday or Friday morning prior to when Anna needs her stuff to send to the printer. And it's usually 8 a.m. meeting.
Okay.
It gets approved with the exact budget number that needs to go in there. And whoever's available has to be at least 3 people come in and sign it.
Okay.
We're gonna bring donuts?
Sure.
He's gonna make.
In the snow.
So,
Okay.
Sounds
we're
like-
good about
so
that.
is it rude of me to say that we're just adding complexity when we don't need it? They just put back in the demo.
To have Article 4 on?
There. I mean, I understand I understand what it will do. It will give us a soft landing in 2026. Right? If we go 2 years out with it. if we go
Yeah.
2 years
Soft-
out, it'll
Softer.
a little bit. Versus. Trying to help the taxpayers out now.
Or will it? Or will it amount to anything based, who knows what 26 is gonna be?
Right.
It might not amount to much. That's why I'm still. Just get rid of it. That's the way.
I did put it all in before.
Brian. We had talked about one of the biggest single costs in the police department budget being the lease payment every year. And potentially having we know that lease payment seems to be high because the acquisition of that building was part of a public-private partnership between the city and a private developer, and that lease is helping to pay for part of Congress and Maine, is my understanding. We had thought about trying to wade into the pool to see if it might be possible for the town to come in and make a cash acquisition of the police department building to lower our future policing costs, by getting rid of that lease payment. I kind of want to leave Article 4 on there so that if that becomes possible, we have a bit of room to run. And I mean, that lease is about, if we counted 100% of the lease payment, if we were able to benefit from it, it's about 300,000 per year. So if you ever get to a point where that 500,000 snowballs into that building being somehow paid off, then our one-time savings of 5 cents in fiscal year 24 could be or fiscal year 25, it could be 5 cents a year forever. I've been trying not to say that because I thought it was borderline executive session that we would be considering that and talking amongst ourselves, but I really think we should leave that alone and explore that further before we make a 100% decision. It just seems like that could be seed money that could save us money every year. There are a couple of different opportunities we could look at. So if we could leave the flexibility in place, and then if none of them work out, return 100% of it or 50-50. The semantics of it don't matter to me as long as it all goes back, but it seems like an opportunity.
Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, it's another option there too. And we had talked about if that were to occur, I know we could use LOT money for that. Yeah, we're definitely not going to solve that one tonight. But that's another good point, Brendan. If we do use Article 4 and fill it up, if an opportunity like that arose, we could use those funds for it.
Be mutually beneficial.
But what's that?
That'd be mutually beneficial for us and that agreement in the city.
Yep, sure. Yep,
Potentially.
yep. So.
I just want to state, like, every time Anna gives us what's that list of 13 different funds and stuff, like, we have a lot of money in there. And this is gonna be another 500,000 potentially. Like, I have an issue with that. Like, that's what we want to do. Like, we don't need to sit more money around. Especially right now when everything's at an all-time high. Like, if we wanna go lease a building, we have plenty of money throughout those funds and ARPA funds. We could probably just about buy the building.
Or if it was such a good deal, we just raise the tax, we could just raise the money to do it if it was a win-win.
Either way, like, I'm not,
I mean,
like, every time I see that sheet, I'm like, we have quite a bit of money in these different funds. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like, do we really need to add another fund to sit on taxpayers' money?
I mean, a good chunk of that money is, earmarked, like all the stuff.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that, but like, I've been here, this is my 4th year. And like, there's still piles of money.
I'll spend it.
Give me something,
You let me
like, give me like, you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
I'm totally against, like,
Yeah.
if we had funds with like zero balances, then I would think about it, but we have plenty of taxpayers' money sitting in the bank. And that's my statement.
Again, part of me wants to put it all down now. Part of me wants to save some. I mean, that's the thing.
Always think of rainy day problems.
Mhm.
We can't omit what we don't know is gonna happen.
But at what point do you stop? Like, you know what I mean? Just,
And we've got
It's-
fire department to think about coming up, like.
I know, but at what point do you say, okay, I think we took enough money in taxes? Like, let's give it back, let's lower it. We beat the taxpayers up last year with an 8 cents, 8 cent, whatever it was. Like, I think we can give them a break for a year.
We didn't beat them up though.
Well, no,
We
but
beat them up. We're
whatever,
Trying to serve them as best we
Right.
can.
but it affects the taxpayers.
Yeah.
That's all. Do you want a motion to take that off?
We can. Yeah, I'm just gonna mention, at this point, if it's 2-2, I'd probably vote to leave it on just to give us the flexibility. And then June, we could use all of it or whatever. We also don't know how much other money is gonna be returned from part of the budget, so that's just all.
What are we looking at for rollover? Roughly, do you know that number yet at all? No, probably not.
Fiscal year 25.
Yeah,
Or 24.
24, no.
No, that's
because
the,
we're like halfway through it, right?
yeah, that's the
It's
biggest
tough to,
bone I have to pick.
Kind of
with
up in the air.
Vermont, when this is
Yeah.
doing it so early in the year.
yeah,
It's
I know.
very tough to.
Past,
project.
it's usually 1 to 200,000.
Yeah.
Is what we've seen.
The Franklin County one's gonna be big, the biggest, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, if we want to have a motion to take it off, that's fine. We can do that.
I just had my reservations about it, because then you have the fund. For say instance, you bought a building, but then you pick up the maintenance fees from it, so then there's a tax, so what did you really save? Like, I'm just trying to look at the benefits though. Do we have to make Well, we can go through the other ones. We kick that horse or not. Or are we just gonna vote on?
yeah, we can, or unless anything else, we think anything else that comes up later might be relevant, changing how we look at it. I mean, I think Article 1 obviously is set, Article 2, we need to have Article 3. I mean, Article 4, I think is the only one we need to.
Wait, did we talk about Article 4 before today?
I think, was it brought up last meeting? I think,
That must have missed the
I don't think
bell.
so. Okay,
No, it wasn't discussed at the last meeting.
okay,
I don't.
okay.
We talked about it in between.
Yeah, I think we've, yeah,
A little
just
bit,
kind of
but
talked
not
casually about it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I thought.
Once we were seeing like how much, we're gonna have as a surplus in that's kind of when the conversation really started to,
I think I asked Sean.
yeah,
We could roll with all cheer.
yeah.
Budget. lower the tax.
Yep. So wherever people want to go, we can tackle it later or leave it on or
Just come back
let's
to
take
it.
it off. Okay, okay, that's fine.
We don't have to do it right now.
Nope, nope, okay, and in fact, we have, if we need to have a meeting on a Thursday morning or whatever next week, then we could even, vote to take it off then. We need to. All right, so next we're going to the budget. I have to find this on here. There's so many things in here. The budget, and I think if we can, I'll turn it over to Sean. I think the only difference here, the only changes are what we were trying to appropriately move under the stormwater utility budget.
Mhm.
Instead, we're moving from the general fund.
Yeah.
Not that it matters a whole lot right now, but when I got these the other day and looked at them, did some quick calculations. The overall budget without any money being returned is going to go up like 900 something $1,000. If you take out the police line item, the police budget here, it looked to me like the increase was $12,000 for non-police
Yeah.
related items.
Well-
So, which I think was kind of a lofty goal we set
Yeah.
for ourselves and for our departments. And
Yeah.
if it comes in there, I mean, to have a $12,000 non-police related increase is about as flat as you can get. So.
Yeah, with the stormwater part, that's obviously a big chunk of that. I think it goes up 17% in total, but if you take out the police budget, it goes up 4%. Is what the latest calculation I had. So that was about 249,000 of stormwater, 20% of stormwater.
Of the DPW.
Yeah, sorry,
related
DPW
stuff.
salaries and stuff, plus Julie's, that brought it down to, it went from 7.45 down to 7.15, so.
Mhm.
It's pretty, it looks a whole lot better than it did.
In the police one in here, Sean, it does reflect that small decrease, right, that we found out at the very last
Yes.
meeting. I couldn't remember the exact number, so, okay.
Yeah, it went down about 100,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking, sorry, what section is that? What page? I just wanted to make sure we.
Section 10744,
7.
page 5.
Sean, what page are we on? 5? I can't, why can I not? Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, so last year's budget was 1.419, and this is 2.389 million. That's
Oh, for the police.
for the police, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that marks the biggest obvious increase.
So on page 5, under the stormwater utility. With salaries, FICA, VEMR's, disability health, dental, mileage, computer. Well,
Yes.
computers is zeroed out, but it comes in at just about 250,000.
Mhm.
And again, our current fee this past year for stormwater raised how much? Was it? It was 400 or 500,000?
Just,
Yeah.
but,
Top of nine.
yeah, it was just over half.
So we're still able to cover all those costs that we talked about.
Yeah.
And still have some money left over to, hopefully, of course, get, some grants and such, so. Okay, Any other questions or comments on this? I believe I mean, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but all the other meetings we had, I believe this is essentially what we've been asking for Al and Sean and Dave and everyone else to do. I think this came out to be a number that is, you know, meaningful, significant for the budget, but it also reflects the actual work that these folks are doing when they're out there. Any other comments or questions or changes?
Essentially a cost of living increase for
Yeah, for everything
our own
else.
budget, yeah. Because we did make some cuts in some areas, including a position, so.
Yeah.
Prospective position, so.
But essentially just meaning, we took, you know, we're trying to reflect that the work that these guys are doing, how much is on stormwater stuff versus
Yes.
non-stormwater stuff. And this seems to reflect that. I think that's what the board wanted, so. If there isn't any other questions or concerns, we can move on to other parts of the budget here. If there are any that need to be discussed. Brendan, did you have anything?
Thank you.
Yeah, just that when we adopted the stormwater ordinance, we realized at the time that there were a lot of issues that would need to be worked out. And we didn't know at the time that overfunding was going to be one of them. We figured we'd be building projects by now, but I just want to, you know, give kudos to Jeff primarily, and then Jonathan for pushing, revisiting how we collect and spend these fees, and just say that, you know I missed the meeting where it was ultimately decided that we would start, you know, using some stormwater money to pay public works expenses. That's probably the best possible outcome out of all the discussions that we had, and you know, everybody that played a part in that and making that decision did a good job for the community, and you know, well done. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Brendan. What's that? I just want to make sure we don't have anything left out here. Good, we can move on. Good, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm doing.
Okay,
I'm good.
Jeff, Jack, good, okay. Well, I think at this point, I think there was someone else for one of the charity things we need to discuss quickly, but otherwise, I mean, I believe we've been over every portion of the budget. I don't believe there's any portions left that we had said we wanted to return to. And if that's the case, then I think our budget is, you know, set to be, I think, presented to the voters
Yeah, as long, it's depending on your decision with
with the last piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it, boy, did that come up in a meeting before already? I feel like,
Yeah.
we've
Talked about
discussed that.
at
And I,
the first budget meeting, I believe, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, right, we essentially have a deadline, and when we ask charities to present us with requests for funds, the group had submitted something, I believe at that time, with an amount. We approved, and correct if I'm wrong here, we approved it, and then later they came back and said, hey, essentially said somebody else gave us more, will you
The
guys
city.
match them?
The city, yeah.
And I think a lot of the discussion was simply that we've already kind of closed that part. It wasn't before, and there wasn't really, including with the request, a reason for additional money other than someone else gave more than that, we match it.
She did mention why she wanted it.
Yes, she did, and
Forget what it was.
this is not the email I was wanting to be in here.
So it just, yeah, it wasn't in the email I got, but
Yeah,
It was in part to, I think, the building, and there was some other costs, whether it was insurance, I'm not sure. The other issue that it was there, that when the initial request came into the town, to the city, it was the old executive director, and they had transitioned to a new executive director. It was the new executive director that's requesting the extra money for whatever reason she presented to the city. My major worry and concern is that we've never gotten a financial statement from them, and I believe we should ask from all of them, and I think we have in the past. But they have not submitted one, so whatever you do about this, but either going forward, or if you want to agree to give them the extra 7,000,
It's 2,500,
Pardon?
extra 2,500.
25. You condition it on receiving their financial statements.
Okay, it's not a bad idea at all. Okay. In addition to that, is there anyone who wants to,
Just like we talked about before, I mean, we got our deadlines, we've been all through this, and next year, try again.
that's kind of, that's where I'm at this point. The deadline was October, I think, so we're a little past that. We didn't miss it by a week or two. I mean, missed it by months and months.
It's the first Friday in November. I asked for those requests to be sent.
Okay, thank you, Jen.
Almost got it.
So unless anyone wants to.
Yeah, we have
open
a
it up.
deadline and we have it for a reason. Two, can we make sure that we change that to ask nonprofits?
That's what I just wrote down.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, or we okay to just move on?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Sean, is there anything else under the budget portion that we needed to make sure we got to? If we had,
Not unless you had questions about it. That's essentially it.
okay, before moving on, or do we get to come back to Article 4, I think? Trying to push it off, but.
Did you mean tonight or later, like a week from now?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose we could, if we do need to have a final meeting.
12 days, is it?
Okay, everything.
Did the 29th?
that,
The 29th is the date.
petitions are due at 5 PM on the 29th, of
Okay.
order balance on the 30th.
Okay.
So we need this signed prior. Saturday night, sound good?
Sure.
I'll throw a lot more about
Right
it.
right after the hockey game. Okay, swing by.
At
Okay.
Twigs.
That's okay.
At Twigs.
All right.
Your Saturday night at Twigs for this budget meeting.
So let's,
So
we'll
it's
leave
a
the budget
Monday.
as it is. We'll have those articles and we'll just make a final vote then on, whatever day. I guess we'll decide at the end when we're gonna.
Yeah.
Meet for that, right?
29th, right?
Monday.
29th is a Monday.
So we can come in right off in the morning and.
Yeah.
That work?
Wait,
We have our oh, shoot. no.
Right off.
just think of, what could happen on a Monday? I mean, in terms of weather, what have you. That's too close. If she has to get it in by what time? 5?
Petitions are due in by 5, like select board.
Oh, select board
petitions,
petitions.
Yeah,
Maybe we can do it next week,
Yeah.
late next week.
Okay, that's tight though.
Would people be good with like a Thursday morning meeting?
25th.
The 26th, I guess we're gonna schedule that now. It's fine. Or sorry, 25th or 26th?
I have a 9 o'clock in Venusburg. So it'd have to be really quick and on that, the Friday.
If we did
26th.
Friday or Thursday.
Thursday, you got me for Thursday.
I mean, by then we'll have
Thursday's good.
definitive language from VLCT on that, so that'll give me time for that.
Yeah.
It should be a quick meeting.
When you get that language, can you send that to us
Oh, yeah.
prior to the meeting,
Oh, for
please?
sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just so I can.
Yeah.
Digest it.
Yeah.
Can you do Thursday morning, 25th?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Brennan, hopefully that work for you Thursday, the 25th, that okay?
8 o'clock.
sorry.
Al won't be in attendance.
Come to our Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. That'll work.
Okay. Hopefully I can make 8 work. Otherwise I'll be a few minutes late.
Or did you want to do?
Okay.
You have to be there at 9.
Well, you can always come in and sign after.
Okay, yeah, I'll figure it out. I just gotta get my kids to school, but. Or maybe they can take the day off.
Maybe we
I'll let them pick.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I sure do.
Oh, sounds like.
Just get that. Okay, all right, we're done with the budget for now, done with the articles. We'll make a final decision, but right now there's no pending changes on there. If we're good with that portion here, we'll move on to the warrants and what essentially is our regular meeting. If you don't mind, Jeff, you'll start with the payroll warrant? Sure.
So I have 2 warrants. Let me see here. The first warrant is January 5th, 2024. It's a baby one. It's only $28,327.44. And that's just regular payroll. We make up for it in the next warrant. dated January 12th, 2024, and that warrant is in the amount of $65,155.58, and that includes the fire, a bunch of other services that people are getting, fire department and on-call stuff and whatnot.
It's their quarterly stipend.
Yep. So I would make a motion that we approve these warrants.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
So the officers, is that annually or is that quarterly? Quarterly? What's that?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And those are the, we did both payroll warrants on that, one, correct? Okay, thank you. And yes, please.
Yeah, well, we got, 3 warrants here. Industrial park warrant for the amount of $639.56, and it's mostly, it's all power bills for Green Mountain Power and Industrial Park. I'm gonna do them all.
Yep. And again, that number was $639.56.
Yeah. Stonehouse warrant, which was for, I guess, some engraving and some for trophies or something. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's for the
And,
sign.
what was the one from Main Street Graphics? Was that for a sign or?
Yes, a couple signs, a couple things. for the
Okay.
building.
And that was in the amount of $739.30. And then we have the stormwater utility warrant in the amount of $12,512.42. And what are these, who's this Fitzgerald?
So if you turn the next page, I believe I highlighted.
McQuam Shore Scoping?
Yeah.
What are they scoping?
Oh, that's for the stormwater.
Yes.
Study.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then I think the next one is Pride Avenue.
Oh, yeah, Aldridge and Elliott.
Mhm. Yeah, most of
Aldridge
it's
and-
Aldridge.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's also with the water sewer.
So is this
study.
their final work on that project or
Which one?
the Aldridge and Elliott is for that White Allen project? Is that what they're working on?
They are working on that. They're also, they just updated the figures on the water sewer project, potential project. So
Anyway,
Clyde Allen and Tangle are essentially both now designed and ready to go.
so I would make a motion that we approve these warrants.
So, second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, those warrants are down. We got the general fund warrant. John?
Okay, I have the general fund warrant dated January 16, 2024, in the amount of $121,495.31.
Mhm.
Oh, 2 of the big ticket items is Franklin County Sheriff for $68,128, and the another one notable is Blue Cross Blue Shield. A bunch of payments for right around 25,000. So having said that, make a motion, we approve this warrant.
Second,
On the Franklin County, is that monthly? That's a monthly bill right now, right?
Yeah, that one's actually a little bit higher than it has been. It was like
Okay.
a special.
Okay.
sign.
Any other questions or comments? General fund warrants? All in favor?
Aye.
all right,
Thank you. All right, so we got that set. We got the minutes from the last meeting, which was a regular meeting. Bunch of stuff in the way here. Sorry about that. Should have the date written down, sorry. All right, of January 3rd, that was a Wednesday, again, regular meeting. I looked over the minutes, but I wasn't here, so I didn't know if anything was inaccurate, but usually Jen does a great job. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. Jack got the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And all right, close that down here. And next section is actually for public comment. If there's anyone in the room or on Zoom would like to make a public comment about really anything, but especially anything on our agenda. Well,
Mr. Public.
if you like to come up, no, make a public comment, you got 3 minutes, please. If you would, again, just state your name and what town you live in, and assume it's St.
My
Albans.
name's Shauna Grimm. I live in St. Albans Town and I represent Tanglewood. We all love Tanglewood. I would
Is
just-
Tanglewood in St. Albans Town? Yeah. It's like the most famous development in all town.
Don't start with me. No, I'm kidding.
Go ahead.
I just want to urge the committee to move forward as quickly as possible on the decision for the retention pond. And I'm certain that it's in your minds and hearts, but it would be very helpful to our community to be able to put a nail into the bench and know that we've got that project going. And, you know, you were just talking about CDs and that sort of thing. We're struggling. We have some very large, expensive projects, some that will go well beyond my lifetime. And CDs is part of our discussion too. And it's really hard to do cash flow planning until we have a decision from you all. We had a great meeting, you, Jack, you, Sean, very informative, very helpful. It was great to go back with positive information to the community. But they are really desperately seeking that nail in the bench. So that's all I have to say. Please help us by getting that moving right along. Thank you.
Probably not as much as you, but I definitely would love to get that set. We just want to make sure we do it the right way and get it done. So thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Public comments? Any on Zoom? I don't think we have anyone in the public there, but okay, well, we'll move on from public comment. Next up, we'll invite up the Fire Chief, Matt Mulhern, please. St. Albans Fire Department, our new chief, had his first storm or two lately. And so, yeah, welcome, Matt. Obviously, happy to have you continuing on.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And yeah, if you want to, say, talk about, just give us an update, fire department, what, if there's anything special you need from us, anything you want to add, vision updates, and then we'll have questions from anyone here.
Yep, so business is normal. It's been a little change, obviously, in the Chief Gross getting done after the 30 years. But everybody's been supportive as far as the membership. Great group of guys, but most of them have been there just as long as I had. So kind of excited for new things. One of our biggest things right now is recruitment and pension, trying to get the younger people involved in the fire service. We've started back up our cadet program, encouraging. We'll roll out a plan in the schools in the near future and try to get them going. Policy and procedure is also a big thing that I'm working on right now.
Would you mind, Matt, you talk a little bit more about the cadet program? You mentioned restarting it, but I don't know any details
So
about it.
that's kind of how I started. I joined when I was
Yep.
16 years old. We had a cadet program. There was about 9 or 10 of us, and there was a cadet leader. And we'd go down there on Monday nights like the regular members would.
Mhm.
But we'd have different tasks that not cleaning the truck. It wouldn't always be cleaning the trucks or doing the stuff that nobody wanted to do, but like filling Cascade bottles, switching out an air pack bottle off of someone that just came out of the fire, getting used to where the tools were. So if they said, hey, kid, go get a housing, you knew what that was, and you knew where it was, so you could do that.
Mhm.
Those are the types of things that a cadet program does. And then you eventually, once you start getting trained and you're able to go to the classes, the firefighter one, or just classes at the fire academy, you have a sense of what those tools or what the fire service is about. And you get a good feel of what it is, and it's not for everybody. It's, it's a big step. It's a commitment.
Where are you at with restarting it yet? Like, do you have anyone signed up for it? Or
No, we're gonna be putting it out on Facebook, and like I said, we're gonna hit the schools. The public safety program that they had at BFA is kind of geared more towards law enforcement and EMS. So we can do some outreach on our own.
Awesome, thank you.
Can you make inroads into the school, like? If they're focusing on policing and EMS. Can you be the third leg of that stool? Like,
It was at one time. I used to sub quite a bit up there, so I could get my hands in. We got a few out of that, but they have a lot of different resources up there where they'll bring students down to the fire station. So we can do that. There is people that are interested, but young people that are interested. We just gotta get out there and show them, get them sucked in a way down at the station.
So all your volunteers. I mean, you just can't show up down there. Some guy can't show up down there and say, I want to volunteer. Throw a hat on him and boots and away he goes. And you gotta go through a whole training thing.
Yeah, you're right. They can kind of, and that's one of the policies that I'm working on to prevent like a background check. But yes, there is, sometimes there isn't, you don't have to have all just young people. Everybody has a position. So if we have truck drivers, that will free up someone else that could wear an air pack. There's jobs for everyone, whether they can fill a Cascade bottle or air pack bottle or drive the truck. That's the big. There's some people that join and say, hey, I don't want to go inside that building. I'll drive those trucks. I get a CDL. Bingo, perfect.
You have to have a CDL
No.
to drive those fire trucks? I
No.
don't think so.
Not in the state of Vermont. New Hampshire, New Hampshire, they require a CDL.
That must be tough. Yeah. To find, one person that wants to get out of the fire department to have the CDL.
Yeah.
I was always curious, because all the small towns, you got
Yeah.
3, 4 farmers that show up and fight the fires, and I didn't know if they had
Yeah.
training or not.
So what has happened in the last 4 years? The firefighter one class is almost over 200 hours. And a lot of people don't have the time for that. I wouldn't have the time for that with 2 kids right now. I wouldn't be able to do it. So what they did was they came up with an alternate solution. It was like a 60-hour class. And they used to have that back in the 80s and 90s. It was called the ABC Essentials. And what that does is it, gives you the basic understanding of firefighting. You get used to the air packs. So there is some younger people that have done that, said, hey, I don't have the time. I just had a newborn. You know what? If you're interested in being in fire service and you're willing to do that 60 hours, we'll let you do it. It's really on the chief's discretion on what you're comfortable with and with the liability of how you feel.
Did you have a question now?
No, I'll come back to it when we
Okay.
finish up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, please continue, Matt.
So again, back to the policy and procedures, something like the truck driving, we don't have anything as far as, like, if there was an accident, what the procedure is, what the after action plan would be. So that's what I'm working on right now. Also, that in the past, we haven't had where anybody could come down and they could join, and we haven't had a background check. So working on that, because I think that's an important piece of it in the new day. Motor vehicle accidents, policies on what trucks we want to bring out to best protect the people, our staff. Those are the SOGs that we're working on. I'm also looking at, we have the part-time position down there right now, just a part-time person. Anybody can sign up on the fire department. We don't really have a job description lined out or what the duties are. So it's go down there and, you might do this today, or you might do that today. You gotta define what the duties and the jobs responsibilities are gonna be, so we can show that there's a result on a weekly basis.
So is that so there's somebody there all the time?
No, not right now. So obviously, Bob Cross is the full-time public safety, but we have a position in the budget that it's a part-time. So if there's something extra that needs to be done, like Knox boxes, going around and checking all the Knox boxes that are in the town, make sure that we got the right key so we don't have to break a door. Hydrant location, they went around and they've marked all the locations on an app that we have. So when we roll up in a truck, you can actually look on an iPad before you get there and you can see where the hydrant is, the Knox box. So you get a little snapshot of what we're going to on that location. Right now, they're adding in property owner information. So if we get there and don't have a key and it's not, there's smoke not blowing out the doors, instead of breaking the door, we can call up and say, hey, John, we got a fire alarm going off. Can you come over here and bring us a key? We don't want to break anything. So but there's not a definition of what that job duty is. It doesn't say that you're supposed to do that. It doesn't talk about the duties described. So
How much, Matt, how much of our infrastructure is already in that app? Is it just starting with it now, or is
No,
it something
it's
that's
probably
halfway done?
2 years. You can add, you can go forever on it. I mean, adding, updating information, phone numbers. You can add as much information.
But like, well, like the hydrants, or
Yep,
those are.
hydrants are all.
Probably- Okay.
Hydrants are done, the fire department connections of where you hook the fire trucks, I believe are done. We're probably 80% done the Knox boxes. Right now, it's the tedious stuff of owner
Yeah,
contact.
okay,
information.
gotcha, okay.
Those are pretty much it, as far as what the first year goals would be.
It's a good list.
Yeah, that's a start.
What would you say, man, I mean, equipment, infrastructure, volunteers. Volunteers are the most important thing, in terms of a focus.
I would say so. We have a good group. We have a dedicated group. The work ethic is second to none. I mean, great group of guys, hard workers. I just think we need to get newer blood in there that kind of just boost everybody's momentum. That you can. There's a lot of knowledge down there
Yeah.
that needs to be shared.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's guys that have been down there 20, 30 years. I think we got one younger gentleman right now, but I'd like to see 10. I'd like to see 20. But when I first started, we had somewhere up around 35 members. And then, like I said, we had 9 cadets, which were right around 16, 17. Equipment wise, we have the best equipment in town. The taxpayers have been very generous. The select board has been very generous, allowing us to get the tools that we got. These new tools for a rescue truck that are coming. These are new technology. It's what we needed. An example would be the rescue that we did in the city. We had the older tools with a gas powered pump that we had to drag through the trees.
Yeah.
These electric tools we wouldn't have to do. So we're very, very fortunate with the trucks and the equipment that we have.
Are you all set with electric car fires? Do you have the whatever spray, whatever?
Suppress it.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about the issues surrounding lithium.
Yeah, lots of water. We also purchased the new rescue pumper this year. That has onboard foam. That foam will give us the capabilities for the firefighters. So that being part of the actual pump, we just pull a valve, flip a switch, and we got foam on that truck.
Nice.
Awesome. The future, the planning and the future are all there. It's just putting it all together with the membership.
Awesome.
You know, I've been talking years so with Chief Cross and these guys about the expanding the fire station, adding on building something different. Where's that?
That's on year 2 that I had here, that station.
But first, front of the page though.
Yeah, there was, I had a bunch of notes, but, that station is, we've outgrown. We've had to, when we spec trucks, we had to make sure that they were a certain footage, that length, so we could get them in the station. That's a good problem to have, I guess, but we've outgrown the building. We need to have a current, up to date, especially after COVID. There was a lot of things as far as decon, separating the fire gear. We've stopped, for the most part, we've stopped people from carrying their fire gear with them in their vehicles, just because of the carcinogens and the bad stuff that you have on after a fire. We've gotten, not to go off subject, but the wipes that we make them wipe themselves down before they get in the fire truck, so we can decon the fire truck when we get back. But the station kind of needs that type of look too. And I mean, we're definitely out of capacity. We have the shed out back that has the UTV. It's all cold weather storage. It's not good for that. You go outside and we've got a battery tender plugged into that machine. We've had to use that, but it still starts hard. So we're not really equipment ready, when we have that.
Okay. How old is that building?
1976, I believe.
Okay.
76 or 77.
I remember when you had one truck with a wooden ladder on. I don't even know if I had a cat
Uh,
years ago.
Probably not.
Oh, I was working over here, boys no farm. High school, out of high school, we were burning an old building. And, you know, a couple of young guys, we got distracted. Next thing we know, the whole half the farm was on fire. And they come down with that truck. And half a dozen guys, that was all, that was the fire. Yeah.
The addition, I know the addition that the actual roof came off of last year during the storm. That was in the early nineties. But we got it plywooded up in the ceiling and inside. I mean, it's just not a good look. I mean, you got beautiful equipment, and then you go walk into a shed. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's dark. It's it is what it is, I guess, but
Any thoughts on the location?
I think probably I mean, I don't know what the options are. But if we did it there, it'd have to be angled a little bit different on that cemetery land. I don't know what the other options are.
But if it was up by UPW,
I don't like being next to the railroad tracks. That's the only thing about that. We've had several incidents on that set of railroad tracks where derailments happened. And if you had to evacuate the fire station, and we're the same boat on Lower Welton Street. We've had to evacuate that station.
a lot of land there.
Land, yep.
It could be a road that went right up by the city thing. Just thinking out.
Something, yeah, so something to consider. Any other questions? Al, back to you.
I'd like to get back to the cadet program.
Yep.
I've seen, you have dress uniforms for the officers, I believe.
We have dress uniforms for
Most.
quite a few of the fire.
And I'm wondering, to try to attract teenagers, if they could have also a very similar but different dress uniform, like Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, but something that would give them prestige within the school. If they knew you were gonna have a 4 o'clock ceremony and they went to high school with their dress uniform on, that too would identify them as volunteers. People would ask them questions. I just propose it as a possible idea to attract kids and to inform the rest of the community that these are young firefighters that are willing to help the community.
Anything's possible. We purchased polos or job shirts for all the members at certain times and getting them to them and they want them out in the public, and that is actually attractive people.
Yeah.
See that it works. I mean, even the front fire department plates that you see on the vehicles.
Yep.
That's a big thing for someone to get.
Young people love swag.
Yeah.
What I think is it the city's city department's Facebook, I think, right? It's kind of spotlights of the different
Yes.
volunteers, I
Every
think,
month.
and that's.
Every month they have the guy, we try to spotlight who is on the fire department.
Yeah, I just think, and that's a, pretty low cost, great way to do the same for our town guys too.
Yep.
Would be great. Let me see, I think just one more thing on here. We, over the last storm, which I think, it seems like most of the damage was in the city. But we kind of talked a little back and forth and or texted. I know you were checking in on things and made sure that you were keeping an eye on that. I think we had one tree on Hathaway Point Road, you said.
On a garage, I believe it was.
And I think we just had the one, because Sean and I had talked after, and I think he spoke with you about if you'd be willing to, if we appointed you as the emergency
Management
management director. I think we've always had the fire chief, and so if you're willing to take that, I'd love to nominate you and vote for that so we can update our records to make that official. Shaking your head, yes, I don't think so. So, I mean, I'd love to, entertain a motion here to appoint Matt Mulharen as our emergency management director for the town of St. Albans. Thank you. Jonathan I think, and Jack got the second, I think it is, so.
Yeah,
Any last comments or questions?
I got a question. I see a little bit on your Facebook stuff, well, once in a while. I was just wondering, I was wondering if the town offices, if you could use them because they do a pretty good job with the Facebook stuff. I don't know how good who's doing the Facebook posting, but you know, for recruitment, you could do like a sponsored ad. Also to maybe just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did, we got staff here that can help too with that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Cause everybody's volunteer up there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So just,
Yeah.
we're here for you.
I got two really good guys that are doing it right now. And they are quick to post it if I ask. And we're restructuring that, how we're gonna do different things. But if I will make sure that they touch base if someone here is willing to help out and do that, even liking or sharing, obviously that's big. So I'll keep that in mind, but that's also a good idea.
Just to
Yeah.
try to do something with recruitment, cause I know it's always been an issue, like,
Yeah.
you were in the 30s, now you're down to like mid-20s, 24.
Yeah, I think we're 25, 20, yeah, 24.
Something like
25,
that.
yeah.
Last time Chief Cross was here, I
Yeah.
think it was 24, but like,
Yeah.
I'd hate to see it go below 20. No,
Yeah.
I think we gotta actively recruit. I
Yeah.
think you know that too.
If I could, I'll just call that question again, Matt is the emergency medical or emergency management director, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
One more point.
Yep.
Could you all set up a committee to work with the chief and the town, and I'm thinking of the town clerk, to identify properties around town, which we could come to some agreement to find a place for a new building, new fire department. Because I hear the chief saying,
Mhm.
the building
Yep.
now is just not sufficient. We've got millions of dollars of equipment in there. You know, building falling apart. We can't go on that way, I don't think. But like we did for originally at town hall, we had a small group that looked at the various properties, obviously with the chiefs going with us to see what would fit and what meets their criteria for quick response and things like that. I really think we should get a team going on that very quickly.
Yep, no, I agree. We'd kind of discussed that a while back, and I think at the time we said we would table it until we got a new chief. It just made sense, and so here we are.
I think we had talked about getting a consultant
Yeah.
in to see what.
That looks like.
that is
How-
new
how-
Fire station around.
When we
Good
were
idea.
looking for town hall property or town hall, remember when Sam Smith's lot came up?
Yep.
Like in that search, like who did we hire to do that?
No,
Dave? You?
no, we had a small committee. And what Anna did was at first, she identified all the properties in the town that were vacant. And then by everybody knowing these different communities, properties, we discounted a lot that were not appropriate. And we settled down to something like 5 to 8. And then we actually went out and visited each of those 5 spots, and then we made our discussed that, made a recommendation to the then select board. I don't think we need to hire a consultant at this point. You've got people on staff, possibly, a volunteer of some sort, but to go around, and start off, have Anna start identifying all the properties again and start from there.
Yep.
Took us what, maybe 2 months to figure out the properties we want to seriously look at.
I'm gonna go to Dave if you're done now. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and my assumption would be what's appropriate would be a smaller selection than what would have been for the town hall as well, I would assume.
Smaller selection.
Small, well, because obviously we gotta be centrally located, I would assume.
Oh, okay, I
I
get
mean,
you.
You know what I mean, bigger roads and stuff, so, yeah, so. I think that's a great idea. I don't know if that's something, we should obviously do that very soon.
Yeah.
We can come up with that, find if anyone wants to have 2 members here sit on with maybe Matt.
There's a number of conversations that.
Yeah.
Can we do like a
Happen.
public out, do we want anybody from the public or is it select board appoint those people? Like, do you do a public outreach? No,
I didn't hear the
do
first
you do a
part.
public outreach for that or
But you mean for this committee?
committee or? It's
We
gonna be-
did, we picked up several volunteers.
You know, cause I'm sure Dave must have, cause you weren't an employee at the time,
No,
No, he wasn't.
right.
you know, and that's, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
that's fine.
think there's a,
Some other ideas out there.
I think there's probably another conversation or two we should have.
Okay.
Before we
Yeah, let's.
do that, yeah.
But you could ask for volunteers now, so when you sit down to talk about it, you know who you want to select.
Yeah, yeah.
I would volunteer to be on that.
You too.
Look at that. No,
I'm
Let's,
not, there's enough select board members. already.
If we
Only
want,
two, only two.
Sean, maybe it makes sense, we
Yeah.
just put it on our next meeting agenda as an item and get to that, so. Give you last word, Matt, anything else you wanna?
I just
mention?
want to say, thank you to the select board. You've been very supportive. I know when I reached out, Brian, you were quick to, text back, and Sean's been great. I've met with Dave and his staff. It's been awesome for the transition. So thank you very much. I look forward to working.
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming down.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll end with the fire and we're gonna turn our attention to liquor. If I could get a motion to suspend the select board meeting and or adjourn as the, or not adjourn, but convene.
You're gonna recess the select board meeting and
Yep.
convene as liquor control.
Okay, I kind of had it then the first time.
You almost-
So get a motion to, yeah, take a break from our select board meeting. We're gonna convene as the liquor control board. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Here we go. We just got a couple of applications here. Correct me if I go astray, Anna. We do this once in a blue moon. So there are 4 liquor and tobacco renewals that are up. I will read all 4 of them and then we'll ask Anna as usual if there's any complaints against them and we can renew their license here. So we have Price Chopper looking for a second class liquor license. Maple Fields South with a second class liquor license. Maple Fields North with a second class liquor license. And then Pie in the Sky with both a first and third class liquor license. Is that correct, Anna?
Correct.
Right, okay. So you look, and are there any of these that have any complaints? I didn't see any on here. Okay, no infractions. By the way, where's Maple Fields South? Which one's that one?
19.
That's 19.
That's exit 19? Okay, okay. I've just never heard of it referred to that
Yeah.
way. Sorry by exit 19. Okay. So again, we'll take a motion then to renew all these liquor licenses. So move. Thank you. Say thank you. Any discussion?
Well, back in the day, we used to do site visits.
You say this every time back. You're welcome to do a site visit anytime. All right, so thank you for that comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So take a motion, please, to conclude our liquor control board and resume our select board.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt?
Is that
you?
after? No.
We've
Oh,
not-
yes, Al, go ahead.
We've not heard any, you've not been called upon as a cannabis board. Have we gotten any money for all the marijuana that's being sold? Marijuana that's being sold. Is a tax that's supposed to come to the town?
Yo, do we know if is it separated from the regular LOT or is it just part of the LOT?
I don't know. It's what,
I thought,
We do, so,
Yeah.
on the, where we get, we do get meals and rooms tax, and we that cannabis, tax falls within the sales and use.
really?
Yeah, I believe that, but we have to get a printout from the state.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and read the regulations. I thought it came in as a separate amount of money, but I'll double check.
Okay, because it's still just the 1%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
And I think it comes, because there's 2, there's rooms and meals tax on the top part of the board, and then there's sales and use tax on the bottom.
This case,
So I
one
do
leads to
think
the
it
other.
falls in the bottom.
Okay. As long as we're getting it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I was expecting it to give us a surplus this year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then so next up, we have town manager's report. We're talking, stormwater and phosphorus discussion.
Yes.
Sean and David, some hopefully it's additional information. Seems we just want to keep this out there as
Yeah.
well, so.
It's mostly, we followed up on, largely Dave followed up on, Jeff's comment last time, idea, or last time I was here, 2 meetings ago, of, finding out if we could calculate, phosphorus reduction.
kind of keep a scoreboard, so
Yeah.
to speak.
We found out there is a scoreboard. so
Oh, okay. Is it called the scoreboard?
That's what we're calling it now.
Dave, please.
It's bean counting for the state, that's what it is. So I would just want to talk about a few things, want to go through a pie chart I got from the state that kind of describes where all the phosphorus is coming from that's going into the lake, at least what they determined it to be. And then I wanted to go through what the town's target phosphorus reduction is. And then I'll go through how those are calculated roughly. And then I'll talk about where we're at with moving forward on our phosphorus reduction projects. Okay, so I don't have a copy of this pie chart for you, but I can certainly get it to Sean and they can email it to you. But it identifies, or the state's estimate, their total maximum daily load for phosphorus, and it was developed by, the Environmental Protection Agency in conjunction with the state. And it identifies the different areas that are contributing phosphorus to the lake. It's got 21% is from stream instability, 16% from forest lands, 4% from wastewater treatment facilities, 13% from developed lands, 5% from unpaved roads, and then 41% agricultural.
Would you mind just saying that one more time?
Sure. So stream instability was 21%. Forest lands, 16%. Wastewater treatment facilities, 4%. Developed lands, 13%. Unpaved roads, 5%. And agricultural lands, 41%.
Yeah, is this just St. Albans Town?
No, this is the whole Lake Champlain watershed.
Okay.
So, and that's just kind of an average, I think, of what it is.
They don't, and it says, what was it? Waste treatment,
At 4%.
At 4%.
they don't count when millions of gallons are running out.
That's just gonna,
They-
does it count that?
Hold on. Go ahead, you go ahead, then I'll.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't believe that it counts when the treatment plants get inundated with stormwater and it overflows. And that number, I don't know. I wasn't able to find any kind of number on that at this point.
So what happened when they passed Act 60, the Clean Water Act back in 2015? One of the requirements in that act required, which I don't know why it wasn't there before, wastewater treatment facilities to report every time they dump, essentially. And they had no idea how much they were dumping for
Right.
that. And every bit that they dump in that pie chart is attributed to that,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
because
Wait,
it had to go somewhere.
What do you mean? When it's stormwater?
So when they did the TNDL, they presumed that everyone was operating under their permits. So when they weren't, because every time it rained, they dumped.
Dump, which is not.
But so then they go out and measure the phosphorus, and they're like, well, look at where's the phosphorus coming from? This group of the wastewater treatment facilities are operating within their permit, and it's coming from somewhere. But who else goes into the lake? Oh, the farmers.
So it's by
We'll just
default.
lump it on to ag.
Yeah, okay.
And so that, I mean, ag's a major contributor. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that they should revise the TNDL, but they're held by it because that is an intensely legal document. And lots of decisions are made on it. And I don't know if the president could change them. Because we presented data on other TNDLs that and DEC refuses to acknowledge it. And so anyways, it's just.
Yeah,
That's
it's interesting that treatment plants are less than rain hitting the roads. That was 5%, right?
That's,
Right. Unpaved
yeah, for
roads.
unpaved roads was 5%. Developed lands includes paved roads. So that's like 13%.
Dirt roads.
Dirt roads is like the 5%, and then developed lands, including paved roads, was 13%. And just to get back to the wastewater plants, I do get a report from the city like every month, and it shows up on there how much is going out.
Go on. See this website.
Yeah.
I've done it before, you can pull up every Montpelier, Middlebury, Virginia, I mean, they're all on there when they report they've done, but like you said, there's no amount. It's just a date and
Well, they're tracking it now. They know,
Yeah,
but
aren't they
it's still,
saying the gallons?
Yeah, it shows up in gallons from the report that I get
but
from
it's still
the
the
city.
lowest hanging fruit. The best money spent is still agriculture. I mean, the fix of wastewater treatment facility is a whole lot of money to reduce 4%. You can make way better gains doing it.
And a lot of the old wastewater plants, their collection system is tied into the stormwater system. So that's what causes a lot of problems. And there's no record drawings of anything.
So how much of St. Albans is, they've separated a bunch of that now?
They're still working on it
Yeah.
from what I understand, but yes, just identifying it is hard for everybody.
I go in a lot of houses up on High Street, Smith Street. All their perimeter drains go right into the feed trap or the house trap. They're all there. I can't believe it doesn't overspill more. I could just list you off the houses I bet they could go right in there. I don't know if there are standpipes put in years ago to separate it, but of course, what do you do when you have a pond of water in your basement? A pipe off. See you. I don't do that. I'm sure homeowners have, because it doesn't seem right to me, but.
So just to move on from this discussion and to get more local just for us. Our target reduction was determined by the state and by EPA for our town, and it's 69.08 kilograms. That's what we need to reduce by
How big is a kilogram?
completing all these various projects. Okay, so 2 years ago, Watershed Consulting prepared our phosphorus control plan, and they identified how we can reach that target, and actually projects that would put us over that target, but we're really just trying to hit the target right now. So in the past, there are about 6 or 7 projects that have been done that have reduced our number. We've completed about 18.33 projects that reduce the phosphorus loading by 18.33 kilograms per year. And we did a couple last summer too that aren't shown in this. So
Can you give me those numbers one more time, Dave? So we need to reduce it we needed to reduce it a total of 69.
69.08 kilograms
You've
per
done
year.
18 of that. So
We've done like
about 50
18.
left. Is
Yes,
that
about
right?
50 left.
And just for, I mean, I don't know if you have this off the top of your head, but if we move forward with like the Tanglewood project, what are we looking at for kilograms reduced on something like that? Is that 10?
Got
Is
that right
2?
here because I knew
Oh,
you
you
would
do?
ask.
Okay. So just curious.
So if we do the Tanglewood project, that reduces it by 1.42 kilograms a year.
And of course, right now, I mean, it's Tanglewood and I mean, most of those other projects. I'm not,
Yes.
kilograms is irrelevant, but that's not the
So
major reason forward with them.
if we work with the state and get the SASH project done, that's 3.26 kilograms per year.
Okay.
Clyde Allen Drive is 2.92. Grice Brook is 3.75. So if we can get all those projects done up there, you know, that's gonna, yeah, it'll be about 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a good place for us to be focusing our efforts on right now.
There are other like smaller projects like culverts that are like 0.12. So like we at least have a, barometer.
Yeah, so okay, so let me just start going through my spiel and then I'll get
Skip
through
ahead,
all of
Yeah,
that.
sorry.
Okay, instead of bouncing around, because I got it kind of laid out here. So the projects that we've completed are like the Freeborn Street infiltration chamber system, and I think that went in a long time ago. That's according to Frank. It's at the intersection of Freeborn and Potter Ave. There's I think it's a swirl separator or some kind of a system in there to pull out the sediment, which we need to go out and pump out. I didn't know that was there until about a month ago. It's like, you guys are kidding me. Anyway, I'm still learning here, still new. We did the industrial park gravel wetland. I believe Emily said there's some issues with that, so we'll be checking that out more this coming summer.
is that the one way at the bottom?
At the bottom,
Below pump
that's correct.
station? That- that all out.
That could be, but we got 9.46 kilograms for that one. The town hall rain garden, the old town hall, we got 0.31 kilograms for that. There was an existing detention pond at what's called Tebow Meadows, but that's out off of Loomis Lane. And then Parsons Meadows, that's the Elizabeth Road, Elizabeth Street. That gave us 2.03 kilograms. And then the retention ponds there at West Vista and Seymour subdivision by Vermont Federal, that was worth 4.48 kilograms. So you sum all those up and you get the 18.33. And I think I've already talked about a lot of the projects that we need to keep working on. There's a bunch more on there. There's, I think, a total of, it's roughly about another 25 projects here. Now, I know that the list I gave you a few meetings ago had like 60 projects. Those included projects that were on their flow restoration plans. Not all of those projects are going to give us credit towards our phosphorus control projects. Okay. So the road projects that we do, the ditching and the dams we put in there, those, they give us a little bit of credit. It's only like 0.12 to 0.4, depending on what else we do. You know, we can put in the dams, we can put in plunge pools at the outlets of the culverts. We can even replace culverts and get credit for those. Like the culvert we need to do over on Fairfax Street. It's a 30-inch culvert now. It's undersized. And what happens is the water backs up and then it comes out with more velocity and it erodes the stream channel. So the goal with those is to construct a culvert in there that's essentially the bank full width. So that way the stream just flows through unimpeded. Pardon me? That's on Rug Brook. It's below Clyde Allen.
That's only 30 inch.
Right now it's a 30-inch and it's a squash culvert because it's failing.
Quite far down.
It is quite far down. Yes. And the good news about that is this was kind of a side point. The Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission is what's called a clean service or clean water service provider with the state. So that means the state gives them money for non-regulatory projects. So that project is not really a regulated project. And I would be able to use the grants and aid money that we've got for it, but I'm going to be going for money through that program so I can use this other money somewhere else. So I got a meeting with those folks tomorrow. So hopefully we can get this one on the list. We've already contacted V-Trans to do what's called the hydraulics and hydrology study. They pretty much tell you how wide the thing needs to be. And they like to do those. They want to do all those for the culverts. So I think we contacted them back in early November. So hopefully it'll be coming soon. And then we can get that one moving. So some of the other ways that we can get credits is by doing street sweeping, catch basin cleaning, leaf pickups, those kinds of things. Those don't get you a whole lot, but it's things that we just need to continue to do, especially the catch basin cleaning. That just makes sure the water is flowing. And we use the town or the city to help us do that because they're the ones with the vac truck. So, you know, they do some of the catch basin cleaning for us and we do some cleanup stuff for them. And it's just kind of a back and forth because I think they said they're going to be replacing their we call it a vac truck. It's like a vacuum truck.
Yep.
And I think they're buying a new one and the new ones cost like $600,000. So I'm glad to be able to work in conjunction with them on various things so that they'll do those for us. And part of that too is the Stevens and Rug Brook diversion canal. You know, that's kind of half them and half us. So we've been out there doing some work together on that, at least before all these snowstorms came in. See, we talked about those. So the way they calculate the phosphorus reduction from the larger treatment, what's called a treatment practice, stormwater treatment practice, infiltration ponds, infiltration galleries, grassline soils, whatever. They look at the watershed that is draining into the area or where you're going to put the practice. So you get the acres of area you're trying to treat. You look at the percent pervious in there and the percent impervious. You look at your infiltration rates. And then they've got this spreadsheet that's got like 52 columns in it. And they've also got an online calculator that you can plug numbers into, and then it spits out how big the treatment needs to be. And then you just kind of play with that, with the size of your treatment until you get to the size that will treat the first 1 inch of stormwater flow. Because the theory is the first inch of stormwater flow is where the most of the contaminants are coming in. And that's the stuff that you got to treat first. And then from then it starts percolating in and flowing out. So that's how those are calculated. So when you look at the numbers on this memo I got and those numbers that I was reading to you, that's how those numbers came up with. So percent impervious, the percent pervious, and the acreage and the infiltration rate. And that's kind of the simplified version, I guess. Sometimes calculating those things takes time, or getting the numbers to put into those equations takes numbers. So I think that's kind of all I wanted to talk about tonight. I know stormwater is a big issue around here in the town.
Got a call from Lynn Dickinson about, she's trying to get Julie Moore to come up some afternoon and possibly Joe Flynn from.
Yeah.
Transportation
Yeah, I told Dave, yeah, we're talking right now.
Sit down with us and say, these are problems we got on the sash. And she's supposed to get back to me in the next few weeks if she can schedule. I really like to get the transportation guy up there.
Yeah, we're talking right now. We're emailing back and forth. It looks like it's
You are?
yeah,
Yeah.
she reached out, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be maybe the week of the 29th.
Oh, sweet. I also visited with Mr. Smith about, he's willing to sit down and talk with us about doing some work on his land before it gets into Tanglewood.
Yes, because just to remind everybody about Tanglewood, the treatment practice there will not be able to treat all the water that's coming off the sash. It's designed to handle what's coming off of Tanglewood. So that's why we need to continue these discussions with V-Trans. So I'm glad that John is here, so.
And I also talked to him about Gracebrook, where we were talking about doing something in the cemetery.
Yeah, there's still some things we need to figure out up there. There's that catch basin just to the south of the main road going into Gricebrook, but it's in the V-Trans right away. And there's a pipe coming in there. It was just flowing a ton of water, but I can't figure out where it's coming from. And I don't have a plan that shows it.
Plug it. You'll figure it out in a hurry.
Plug it.
Plug it up, yes.
Plug it up and if back wherever, somebody will let you know.
Yeah.
Dave, in terms of the work that needs to be done on the sash and then Tanglewood, does it not, ultimately, it'd be great if they both be done at the same time and expeditiously as possible, but is there any huge negatives to moving forward with doing Tanglewood before the sash is tackled, or?
I don't think so. I think we could go ahead. Anything we do there is going to be an
Okay,
improvement,
that's okay.
as long as everybody understands that it's not the final fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those two projects aren't mutually exclusive either, though. They depend on each other. They both need to be right to make that all work.
Or at least
right?
Tanglewood depends on the sash anyway. Yeah.
Right.
And I just know if we wait for those two projects at the upper end, we're years out. And I would prefer not to do that.
That's what I'm worried about waiting on. If the state folks come up and look at it and the right person's there to sign something, maybe it gets done quick.
Well, the state's it's on their schedule for 26, 27. So that's, if we wait till after that, honestly,
Gotcha.
yeah.
But when the picture you showed, when you guys walk down the access road and all the pipes are.
They're all busted,
They're all
broken.
busted ones, yeah.
You need to have somebody with a little authority come up, tell these guys down on New Street, they did the thing.
Yes.
Clean it up.
And then The other thing that was really eye-opening when we did that last walkthrough is we followed that pipe on the south side of the sash until it hits a berm, and then it dumps directly into Tanglewood.
So
I
that
mean,
is a berm there.
there is a
That-
berm
that-
there.
that- I did a slow roll. around it. I'm like, is that a berm?
It's definitely a
Like-
constructed
like-
berm.
So
Was a
I said in
berm.
my head, like, if water hits that, it's gonna go right into Tanglewood.
And that's exactly what it does.
What is a berm exactly?
Just a built-up mound to divert water.
Stuff.
Direct water.
Yep.
So what happens if you remove that berm?
Well, if we have to do that and be thoughtful. Because if we moved it now, it would just go into the next people on Tanglewood. And until we can get things
Another
built,
berm?
No, it would to point it down, it's like. to
And just
next
the way
level.
that-
that's just the way the
Yeah,
slope
yeah,
is right
okay,
now.
yeah.
What it really needs is to have like I'm just kind of talking out loud,
Yeah.
brainstorming, is a series of dams going down there to slow it down. Let some of it infiltrate, keep it out of Tanglewood. But the other thing is all of V-Trans pipes down there are only 18 inches. And that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah.
So that's gonna have to be replaced. And I'm not sure how it got underneath all that rock over there. They probably had to blast it to get it down deep enough or whatever to get the grade they needed. But we're probably looking at replacing an 18-inch with at least a 48 or a 60. You know, it's gonna have to be fairly big, I would think.
Hmm.
So the
So,
bottom elevation doesn't change, does it?
no,
Right? Just as long as you got enough
and,
above.
right, and then we also have to look, and I know that the city's already looking at this, how to get it underneath Route 7. Well, I mean, the pipe, the 18-inch pipe is already underneath Route 7 there. But then you gotta deal with it just getting down to where the new gravel wetland is supposed to be. And it's probably gonna have to be bigger than was originally thought.
So if you, you know, clean that whole ditch down the side, I mean, you're probably going right over Main Street.
If we don't replace the culvert with the bigger one, yes. We might get a few complaints if we did that.
Any other questions for Dave or Dave, anything else?
I mean, so if the Sash had all the engineering done where you knew. If you knew all the engineering stuff, which I'm not an engineer, but. Then you could do whatever you need to do to Tanglewood and go, knowing that. It would mesh together later.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so if they're scheduling it for 26, 27 to turn into 29. We
Starting to
really
think,
don't
well,
need to wait that long, as long as we know what's coming down and we just do our side.
Right, so we've already applied for grants for those two projects up there to get the preliminary engineering moving.
yeah, I'm not.
Because V-Trans was probably a couple years out from even starting that, but we were like,
Yeah.
no, we didn't want to wait for that. And if we can get money to do it, power to us.
I thought you had a
OPM.
microphone in my office. It's like we just talked about this today and a couple other times, because we don't want to wait for them to then start studying. So we're already applying for grants to do that study ahead of time.
Anything else, Dave? I mean,
That's it.
we're gonna.
You want me to
Keep
make
this
some
on the
copies? I can
agenda.
get copies of this to Sean and he can email them to you. Okay.
All right, anything else, Sean, under town manager's report for you?
Not particularly. We have a stone house or a meeting with SHPO on the 8th of February, which I could have just waited till next meeting, but
That's Shippo.
State Historic Preservation
Oh,
Office.
oh, I gotta go to that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were coming to the select board.
Hmm?
I
No.
thought they were coming to the select. board.
No, but they're coming, I'm grateful for it, because they're, Laura Treichman, who's kind of, she's, well, the officer for the state.
Oh,
She's coming, with the staff that came down last time to meet with us to talk about the roof and other matters, so.
And what
You
we can
can go if
do
you
about
want.
it.
Yeah.
Options.
Yeah. Because then in order that we,
You'd come
because
in
we're gonna
with
put an RFP out for an architect or an engineer for it, but then we're like, wait, I'm gonna wait until they tell us what we can and can't do before we move ahead. And I think we'll be able to do more than, hopefully, I guess, than we originally thought. So that's, hopefully, yeah.
Al, what do you got?
Yeah. The last meeting, we talked about having, Joe Luno join us to help us because he's on the state committee.
Having who join us?
Joe Luno.
Joe Luno, oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Everybody know him?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, is he able to make that other meeting that we're talking about, I wonder? See what he-
Yeah, I'm sure I can. Yeah, I haven't. I don't know.
I know him, I can.
February. Hopefully not this.
What day is that, Sean? February what?
8th.
February 8th.
February
At 10. At 10.
Historic folks.
Hmm?
Historic.
Shippo.
folk.
Shippo,
Hysteric.
that's what I would call it.
Any,
Yeah, from the record.
anything else, Sean?
Just, I think, I don't know if this was announced yet, but we received a municipal planning grant for the village, St. Albans Bay Village District Master.
Oh,
Plan.
okay, good.
So that'll be out RFP for the consultant to begin that. So that's gonna include the TOD stuff, all traffic oriented developments. Pretty much top to bottom, soup to nuts, master plan vision for the area.
The Bay Village.
The Bay Village,
Right.
yeah, just it's the village center district, which I
Yeah.
mean, by rule extends about a half mile outside the perimeter, but
Yeah.
So it'll be helpful.
Yep.
That
Perfect.
gives us access to more funds.
studies lead to funds as typically, yeah. And this is largely paid for.
Yep.
It's exciting.
Awesome.
You get
Anything else,
excited.
Sean?
That is all.
Good. Chair's report, I usually like to obviously report on positive things, but just wanted to mention, this kind of relates, I know, John, we've already seen it, but relates to what you mentioned earlier. Just the CLA stuff that we got, and sounds like if our school budget even remained equal, what we're gonna have to pay here in the town, because our CLA changed, is a 9.7% increase, if I'm reading that and understanding it correctly.
And that's with a 0 increase.
Yeah, that's just the change in CLA. And if the budget goes up, then it would be, again, I don't know how all that formula works, but yeah,
What's
it's
their
not,
CLA, Brian?
not great. 79.772, which I found this interesting, and Anna can confirm this for me, I think, but it used to be, right, if it fell below 85, we had to do a reappraisal, but looks like those rules changed, and now it's the coefficient of dispersion, which is, the most wealthy houses versus the least, and the difference in the formula. And we're at almost 19%. And if it gets over 20, that's what will trigger a reappraisal now, which past select boards have saved for, and we have probably adequate money to pay for that. So that's from a fiscal point, that's good. But from a more immediate point, the education tax, what we're gonna owe is going to go up from that, so. Anyway, that's my positive, and we have the eclipse is coming to in April, just remember that, so. that's a positive,
79?
79.72.
That means
It's gonna be like $1.90 for
It
school tax
was
rate?
80 something last time.
Cause at 87 this year, it's gonna be $1.73 or $1.63 at the 5% cap ed rate. I get the chart
Yep.
from the school
Yep.
board meeting.
Yep.
And the city has a 71% CLA, and they're at 201. In the town here, they got it at 87.51. They got 285, 80 to 85, $1.85.
$1.85.
Yeah, from $1.50 something. Call it, yeah, be conservative, go $1.80 to 25 cents. Yeah, I know, but every little bit helps.
In that common level of appraisal thing, in, right? I mean, I just think of it this way, I know what my property is assessed at for the town, right? That's what I pay my taxes on. I also know, like most of us, if I wanted to sell my house, I could sell it for a lot more than what's on that, what's on the town's assessment, right? What their amount is. And what this common level of assessment thing is basically to, I don't want to say penalize towns maybe that haven't done a reappraisal in a while, since we're all paying into the school.
Yeah, but
Amount, and then comes back out. I'm just saying that's how what they're using. I mean, on this, they're saying our education grand list in the town is about, I'm rounding it here, about $950 million. That's the value. But according to their, study, is that it should be closer to $1.2 billion. So that's why they're saying, well, that difference is where that amount is. So if when that amount gets too high, the difference is too big. That's when essentially
They're
they were forced.
They're assessing a tax on a perceived value that's not even documented.
Well, you can though, because home sales, that's the problem.
Every year the state does a sales study. And that's how they determine the common level of appraisal when houses are selling more than what we're gonna assess for. And that's how they get.
So Fairfield CLA is 128.5, so their school tax rate will be $1.11.
And that's because
But-
just did it.
But they have,
They just did
their reappraisal, but so everybody's house is worth more, that means you're paying more, it equals out. Like,
Yeah,
just so everybody pays the same amount of tax based on. your assessed value.
When we reappraise.
Last time we did
Sure.
one was 2008.
Well, then it adjusts, but we pay the same.
Yeah, theoretically, this equalizes.
They equalize it theoretically.
So-
Doesn't seem equal.
If
with
I-
CLA.
If I sell a house and someone buys it for over the assessed value, does that change this?
No.
So in New Hampshire, it does.
It does.
Yeah, California does too.
In
Like New York,
Vermont,
too.
that's called sales chasing. And that's not legal in Vermont.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Because people pay something, which means that's what it's worth, because that's what they paid. We wouldn't actually tax them on that.
Yeah,
I don't have any problem doing it in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I know I talked with my cousin who owns property in San Diego, and their assessed value of their home that they pay taxes on is the sales price. So they're saying it discourages people from selling. If you bought a house in the 80s and you paid 150 grand for it, it's 1.3 million now. You're still paying taxes on 150,000.
Right.
If you sold it and bought a new house, even for 800,000, you downsized. Your taxes just went up though.
Yeah.
It's also interesting.
Yeah.
So, that's what I heard. Hopefully it sounds like other people have heard of that too. So that's all. I just want to deliver that news. So that just came out. So that's it for me. Are there other business from any of the other board members? All right, we'll move on to the schedule. So our next budget meeting will be at 8 o'clock on the 25th of January. We meet here, have Zoom available if needed. But our next regular select board meetings will be Monday, February 5th. And then it will be, again, changed to a Wednesday, the next one. So it'll be Wednesday, February 21st. And again, that's in lieu of President's Day.
Is there a chance we could do that on Tuesday? The second one?
I saw your note on that. Actually, if
James.
people would be open to that, that would work for me too. Wednesday, that Wednesday I would probably be tied up. So would you be willing to change 2 meetings from now, February 20th on a Tuesday, 6:30? So basically instead of Monday, just have it
On
on
the 20th,
Tuesday.
yeah, Tuesday the 20th.
Boy, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to do.
Check your calendar. We'll wait.
I'm not-
If that's all right with everyone, that would that'd work great for me too.
I won't be around.
Okay. 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 We'll see. I don't know how that works, but we'll do it. All right, so we'll change that then to February 20th, 6:30. That's Tuesday. And I think that's it. If we could have, I don't know if anyone's got the language, but a motion to go into executive session. Do we have the language on that somewhere. Usually it's on here, but it's not today.
Yeah, we should just get a recording. Jim.
Sorry, that was my mistake.
Got
That's
it.
okay.
We'll definitely
was-
let it go.
Yeah,
What did Jen say? She'll put it in the meeting notes?
can you put it in the
Okay,
chat?
so a motion to, oh, it's gonna go in the chat?
I don't know, or you can recite it, I don't know, I guess.
Well, I just
Do an
don't,
honor
I don't have
system.
the
I
stat.
have it if you want me to read it.
If you wouldn't mind, Jen, please.
Not at all. What are you going in for?
Contractual.
Contractual, yep.
Okay. Make a motion to go into executive session, discuss a contractual matter where premature general public knowledge of the subject matter would place the town or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Also further move to enter into executive session to discuss a contractual matter under provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes, and to invite in town manager John Adkins and Director of Operations Alvo Joe.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks for coming.